When the venerable Cascade Ski Center outside Lake Placid sold to the Adirondack Mountain Club, it seemed like a natural fit. And from someone who visited several times, everything seemed to be going great. Great groomed trails, a busy ski rental and sales office. But last year, it all fell apart. This winter, the place is closed to skiing for the first time in decades. We pick through what went wrong on today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kenny Drugs, now accepting S3, Nations Benefits, and OTC Network Wellness Benefit Cards for eligible over-the-counter health items. Details at KennyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. First up, a farm worker who lives in the North Country and was detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement last summer says conditions at ICE detention centers were deplorable. Brian Velasquez was apprehended during a traffic stop in Gouverneur last summer. He spoke with WWNY about the months he spent in ICE facilities around the country.
The food's no good. We are sleeping on the floor. They don't care. They don't give me a blanket, nothing. In Arizona, we sleeping on the floor. Same in Washington, same in Texas, and Louisiana, same too.
Velasquez was released from ICE detention in December. His wife, Jasmine Velasquez, said the experience left a scar.
I can drive through Gouverneur fine. If Brian is with me, it's like instant panic reaching Gouverneur, just because that's where everything happened.
Velasquez says he doesn't have a criminal record in the U.S. or his home country of Guatemala. He now checks in monthly with ICE officials. More than $3 million in state funding will support community projects in the Adirondacks. Kara Chapman has more.
The State Department of Environmental Conservation announced the latest round of Smart Growth grants at the Essex Food Hub in Westport last week. Megan Phillips with the Adirondack Park Agency said the 26 projects will bear fruit in a lot of different ways: climate resiliency, housing,
promoting local agriculture, building sustainable recreational assets, or creatively adapting to changing demographics and economic conditions.
The renovation of the Food Hub's building is among a handful of projects that'll receive $300,000, the highest level of funding. That amount will also support a housing project in North Elba, a year-round recreation facility in Harrietstown, and the reconstruction of Indian Lake's Town Museum. Essex Food Hub President Holly Rippon Butler said the Smart Growth grants provide funding for infrastructure improvements and other day-to-day work that's hard to find.
We're, as an organization, really at the center of bringing together, feeding our communities, supporting farmers, bolstering the local economy, and I think that's representative of so much of the vision of what all the other grantees are doing as well. They're kind of trying to just think about how all the pieces fit together, how we build resiliency for the future, and how we are building a future that we all want to live in.
Several of the projects awarded funding are geared toward improving accessibility in outdoor recreation. Those include upgrades at Lake Colby Beach and Saranac Lake and a full accessibility assessment of the Paul Smiths Visitor Interpretive Center. DEC Commissioner Amanda Lefton said that aligns with the state's message that these lands are for everyone.
This is really our investment and commitment to try and really increase our work on accessibility for our public lands.
The Smart Growth program is funded by the state's Environmental Protection Fund. Governor Kathy Hochul has proposed maintaining its funding at $425 million in the next budget. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
For decades, the Cascade Cross-Country Ski Center was a must-visit winter destination for both locals and visitors to the High Peaks region. It was owned by the Jubin family and hosted legendary full moon ski parties. In 2022, the family sold the ski center to the Adirondack Mountain Club. But just 3 years later, the ADK put the property back up for sale, and it's still on the market. It was a move that shocked the public and some of its own members. The big question is why, but details have been scarce. New reporting by Gwendolyn Craig of the Adirondack Explorer sheds some light on what happened and why the ambitious plans for the property fell apart. She told Amy Feiereisel the Adirondack Mountain Club's vision was to create a welcome center.
And then it also was going to be this spot for them to have offices, board meetings, even housing for some of their stewards, and just really a one-stop shop for a lot of hiking gear.
Okay, so that was the vision. But just a few years later, in the fall of 2025, they put the property back up for sale. When they did that, the ADK said it was facing unforeseen financial headwinds and that they wanted to focus on other projects more aligned with its mission. You went a lot deeper than that with your reporting. What did you find?
I spoke with board chair Tom Andrews, who helped purchase the property, and he was really surprised by this news because the project itself was very much in line with ADK's mission and what it had hoped to do. So sort of that answer wasn't really satisfying for a lot of people. And we had been covering a $500,000 grant that the club was supposed to have received for the acquisition of the property through the Environmental Protection Fund. I, foiled for some records, and I also had received communications from one of the previous executive directors, Michael Barrett, just about sort of the strings attached with this grant. It felt like the Parks Department didn't really know how to handle having a conservation easement on property owned by a nonprofit organization, and there was a lot of back and forth over it because the state is trying to protect its investment and the public's interest, but at the same time ADK was purchasing the bulk of the property and wanted to be able to maintain it and hold its own programming and do things there.
It's probably important to mention here that it was a $2.5 million purchase overall, $2 million from the ADK, $500,000 from the state grant. And that was somewhat critical to them being able to purchase the property, right?
Well, that's what I was trying to get at from ADK, was like that a make or break grant. And it seems that the amount of time it was taking, they were having trouble with the mortgage payments and refinancing and getting a lower mortgage payment because they couldn't get this resolved with the state. As they said, there was unseen financial headwinds and resources that didn't materialize, and it seems like this is that.
You also reported on how a lot of organizational change during this period may have played a role. What happened there?
Well, ADK has had basically 4 people in its executive director positions over the last 6 years, and the board itself went through a tremendous change. It used to have over 60 members, multiple representatives from each of the chapters all around the state, but then they all voted to condense the board down to approximately 12 people, and that's the board that has decided to sell the property. So we're the current executive director, I think, inherited a lot of this. She hasn't had much to say other than that it's been a disappointment, and that it's they're trying to focus more on their other existing properties.
I'd like to step back for a second and look at how this has impacted the wider community. I mean, this was a beloved community institution in a lot of ways. Can you talk to me about the public response to the property being put up for sale?
Yeah, this was a huge disappointment to the community and to ADK members. A lot of people have mentioned they joined the club specifically for this reason, because, dues-paying members could ski there for free. The trails are beautiful. I've skied there myself. It's a really neat asset, and I think now, because it's for sale, there's also the possibility that someone won't keep it, a ski trail center. They could try to do something else there. So I think this sort of unknown that property's going through for the future is a disappointment for people that really enjoyed going there.
And where does the Cascade Ski property stand now?
Yeah, so ADK listed it for $2.85 million, I believe, and they reduced the price by $900,000 at the beginning of the year. So, read into that what you want. I'm not sure how this is going to impact the organization too, just the finances of it all. I think that's something we're going to be watching, and we're also going to be watching what happens with this property because it is so prominent.
That was Gwendolyn Craig, a reporter for the Adirondack Explorer, speaking with Amy Feiereisel. You can find links to Craig's full reporting about the Cascade Ski Center property at ncpr.org. We have more news there all the time, of course, ncpr.org. Music today by Gretchen Kohler and Daniel Kelly of Potsdam. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.